What up YouTube, Gundra King Reviews here, and today I'll be reviewing Shokugeki no Soma, chapter 114. What all happened in this chapter? Well, not much really. Only big things that happen is like, one, Soma gets permission to compete in the new dish competition, and two, that the competition starts at the end of the chapter. So, let's jam. So this chapter opens up with Shinomiya giving Soma permission to participate in the new dish competition, because if you recall, Shinomiya stated that at the end of the trial period for his new restaurant, they were going to have a huge competition between all the cooks to see who could make a dish that would be put on the menu. And, during all of this, we get a little bit of comedic relief with Hinako, one of the famous chefs and one of the alumni, spilling the beans about the unofficial Shokugeki competition that Soma had in the dorms. You know, the one between him and I believe the dude who was the second chair in the group of 10. And yeah, looks like they really shouldn't have said that, because it turns out that Shokugekis actually have to be hosted by, an official staff. Like, it has to be an official match. You can't have, like, little teasers. And Chappelle, one of the teachers at Totsuki, actually hears this, and, some comedy ensues with them, trying to cover it all up. And in the next panel, we find out that in order for Soma to pass this stage of the Starigari, he has to make a really good dish. And that apparently it'll be judged by some big shot cook, because they just refer to him as him. So yeah, it turns out that Miss Wei, the waitress, is actually a renowned cook for Shina. And the reason she switched was because she wanted to improve her cooking by being closer to the customers. Because when she was over in France, she was looked down upon, her dishes weren't accepted that much. And whenever they'd have a competition for, best chef, her entries were only accepted twice in the span of 2 years. Like, a piece. And then we find out that the rest of the members of the crew of the chefs actually had the same reasoning, i.e. they wanted to get better, they wanted to improve. And they were essentially stating their determination to win the competition, in order to prove themselves. And the assistant head chef then asked Soma if he could do the same, if he could show the same conviction. And of course Soma says, like, hells yeah, and, I'm willing to stake everything on this. And then the competition starts, and, staying true to Shokugeki no Soma fashion, they're actually ultra descriptive in the step that Soma took to, prepare his dish. And while he's preparing his dish in the next few panels, we get a flashback of Soma when he was a kid in the kitchen with his dad, and he comes to the realization that all of the weird things that his dad did were all from learned experiences that he'd gotten from traveling around the world. And Soma then proceeds to use these very things to, make his dish. And although he's the last one to come out, the dish that he makes actually doesn't look all that spectacular. It's just a, whole quail on a plate, which is a type of bird. And while it looks pretty tasty, it's not exactly fitting up to the name, because he called it a dandoro, which in Japanese, rough translation, is like quail with rice. But you see, he only used it for the naming scheme, i.e. like naming a French cuisine with a Japanese name, because Shinomiya pointed that out, that the reason he came back to Japan was so that he could reconnect to his roots. And he noticed that, over in France, they weren't really all that receptive of Japanese dishes. So he wanted to, get better at that. Well, Soma takes the same, a page from the same book, and he names his dish dandoro, even though he doesn't have rice. yeah, that doesn't really work. But hey, whatever. What all happened in this chapter? Not much really. It was predominantly a setup chapter. Only major thing was that like the competition started. That's pretty much it. So this is Grimjar King Reviews signing off. Please like, comment, and subscribe. As always, people, have an awesome day.